Well, hello, friends and neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and welcome down to the Nook. It's a beautiful long weekend, and I really should be shooting this outside, but with my phone not working, this rig isn't portable. So, hope you'll be okay with seeing more of this basement. Today, it's Sunday, right? So I've got a couple of samples. One from Paul, one from Ray. The first one is a Boulder Spirits release. They have just swept into Alberta, and I feel like Edmonton Scotch Society, Park Whiskey Society. I feel like there's some pretty big names in the local whiskey scene behind this, but I couldn't get confirmation. So this is Boulder Spirit's Sherry Cask Finish. It's a bourbon finished in sherry. And then I've got a sample from Ray, and this is James E. Pepper Rye, but finished in sherry cask. So we'll talk about some bourbon finished in sherry and some rye finished in sherry when we get back. 3, 4. Thanks for staying with me through the break. I'm excited about both of these. You know, Boulder Spirits, as I indicated, they've got a single malt, a bourbon, and is it a single malt finished in port? I got to check on that. But there's about 3 or 4 bottles that have suddenly shown up across Alberta. Decent prices, you know, from about 65 to about 85, somewhere in there. But let's see about the Spirit. I don't know enough about this. You know, go to their website. It's pretty much all I've been able to see. I haven't seen any of the reviews yet. Looks like this bourbon is finished 2 years in virgin oak. And then, not finished, aged 2 years in virgin oak. It's 47%. I couldn't get a mash bill. And I don't know how long they finish it in sherry, nor what type of sherry. Maybe that information was there and I just was not looking hard enough. But if you know a bit more, please share. As I said, 47% bourbon finished in ExSherry. Let's see what we get. Oh, this is a very rich ExSherry nose. So that's going to bring in leathered fruits. For me, it's already heavy cocoa chocolate. Yeah, Christmas cake spices. A very rich nose. It actually is playing more into a heavy sherry, almost ex-scotch than ex-bourbon. Maybe there's a little more oak. Or maybe some caramel. But it really, for me, I just poured it. Thanks, Paul, for the sample. I'm just trying it, and it is very sherry forward. Let's give it a taste on the palate. Cheers. So rich. Dark flavors. A little bit of what is that spice? I was going to say clove, but that's not quite it. But it's somewhere in that interplay of a nutmeg clove. Still a leathered fruit, a tobacco note, like a nice roll deep. Wow. It's playing in the dark spices for me. Dark spices, dark fruits, like really ripe cherry. Better take another sip. Yep. That is very tasty. I could see why when I met Paul, who gave me the sample, I think he might have been bringing home his second bottle. It is delicious whiskey. Plays almost toward a heavily sherried scotch for me. There is a little more wood, a little more oak. But I'd almost say barley forward. I don't want to go too far down. It's just my first sip of a sample. I obviously need to spend more time with it, but very tasty, rich, and full flavored. Glad I tried that. Second sample today is James E. Pepper. This is a straight rye finished in ExSherry. Their site, again, doesn't give times, But this has both PX and Oloroso sharing in it. That was on their site. I think, like as the last one is 47%, I think this is 46%. And as a straight rye, you know, it's going to be at least 4 years old and at least 51% rye. Let's see what we get. Whoa, this is a very different nose. So this is playing in, I've got a little bit of some kind of herbal note, that grass rye note, and then a very light, brighter fruit. Yeah. This Boulder is so rich. Now this is interesting, but it's almost got a bit of a, it's got a slight soapy, almost artificial note kind of going on. Little bit. Yeah, it's just radically different. I picked it because I thought, okay, 2 samples finished in sherry, maybe they'll be similar, but this nose is not similar. This is, you know, light, bright fruits, but a fair amount of grass herbal rye. See how it is on the palate. Cheers. I'm liking the pepper. I'm liking the spice. But, and there's some coating going on. But the fruit's coming up surprisingly light. The sweetness is almost confectionery sugar. It's playing very much for me in that high light fruit with kind of a grass, herbal rye, and some spice. Another sip. I should try this. I will. I'll try this maybe off camera or the second part of the sample a bit later against some ryes or some finished ryes, because in this comparison, I think I'm getting a disservice because it's tasty. I love rye, and I actually really like the James E. pepper. I believe it's sourced still. I know they have a distillery, but this is probably still sourced. But I really like their cask strength rye. Like I genuinely did. This is in this sitting, not holding up as much as this new bourbon finished in ExSherry that's come up into Alberta, Boulder Spirit. This is just very rich. In fact, it reminds me, and I gotta get a bottle. If I get a bottle, I think I will shoot it against that Oloroso finished Millstone. That kind of very fresh, expressive, but still dark, full dark espresso chocolate wood you get sometimes at sherry finishes. Boy, that is so good. Thank you, Ray, for letting me try this James E. pepper, and Paul for meeting me after walking a few hours in the rain to give me a sample of this Boulder. I'm liking both. Giving the nod to the Boulder in this sitting. Hope you guys are having a great long weekend if you're in Canada, and if not, just a great weekend, and that it's decent weather and just a great time with friends and family. All right, we still can't gather. Well, I hope you're having a great weekend. You guys take care.